Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Gabby and welcome to my Strangely YouTube channel. Now today's video is a little bit different. I am going to be doing a story time. Now I can't remember the last time I did a story time on my channel that wasn't paranormal. I can't remember, it was probably like a year or so ago, and I don't know, I've been super inspired by a YouTuber named Stormy Davis. If you don't watch her, you need to watch her videos. Like, oh my god, she does the most entertaining story times. They're all like 45 minutes to an hour long, and I promise you, you will not skip through any parts. Like, they're interesting from beginning to end. She has been through so much shit in her life, and she is such a strong ass person. It's so inspiring. But I've been binge watching her story times, and I myself am inspired. Also, my friend Kyla Rebecca, she has been inspired by Stormy also, and her story times. She has also been through a lot, and I don't know, I just feel like I don't share enough of myself on my channel. I do a lot of serious videos on my channel, from mysteries to cold cases to everything in between, and it's hard for me to really be myself in those videos and really have my personality kind of shine through, because they're about serious topics. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and like crack jokes or really, you know, be sarcastic or anything like that. Like, I'm not gonna really be myself in those types of videos, if that makes sense. I didn't really know what story time I was gonna start telling on my channel, but like, I have a lot of story time worthy stories. Every time I'm telling a story to anybody, I'm like, shit, that would be like a really good story time. That would make like a really good story time. That would make like a bomb ass story time. I figured that I would go back to like my early ages and then kind of work up. I'm not gonna really go into like my life story, but I'm just gonna pick out different incidences from like each year of my life that are story time worthy. And yeah, I thought back to my early years, and this story stuck out to me because it was really like young Gabby's first interaction with mean girls. This story starts in 2nd grade. It was simpler of times. I was 7 years old. It was 2001 to 2002, and I was a different person back then. I was definitely, if I had to describe young me, early elementary, I would definitely say I was a people person. I loved people. Now, not so much. Not so much. But back then, I wanted to make friends with like everybody. Like, I wanted to be your friend. I was the type of kid who they could not sit me next to anybody in class because I would find something to talk about with them. My teachers would deliberately sit me next to kids that they thought that I had nothing in common with, like the kids who liked Star Wars and reptiles, and I would find anything to talk to them about. Like, one of my best friends in elementary school, I had nothing in common with this kid, but he was like nice to me, and like we found shit to talk about, so like he was my friend. This story revolves around 3 girls. We're gonna name them Tara, Larissa, and Azriel. Now, Azriel doesn't come in until later, but right now we got Tara and Larissa, and we're going to start with Tara. When I started 2nd grade, Tara and Larissa were in my class, and they were both new. I had never talked to them before, but I wanted to be their friend, and I started with Tara. Within no time, I realized that Tara was absolutely insane. Like, have you ever met a kid who was just so fucking crazy that you're like, how are you this crazy, like so early on in your life? That was Tara. I remember one time I was walking home from school with my dad, and my dad had walked to my school. It was about a mile away. He came and picked me up and walked me home. I think we were having like car troubles or something at the time, and this girl Tara and 2 of her cousins come up to us, and obviously, you know, my dad was there and Tara was there, so I wasn't going to be like, oh shit, like I'm not her friend. So Tara comes up and she's like, hey Gabby, you know, and she's like, hey Mr. Valenti. That's my dad, Mr. Valenti. Shout out Dad if you're watching this. Probably not, but hey. And on this walk home, like, her cousins were not saying anything because they probably knew she was like absolutely insane, but On this walk home, she is like scratching and punching and tearing at my dad's shirt. Yeah. And my dad is just like, okay, like, get down, little girl, like, what the fuck? And like, she goes off with her cousins and they separate and they go off to like their house and like go down their street and whatever and like separate from us. And my dad is like, what the fuck? Like, who was that? I thought that was your friend. I'm like, no, she's crazy. She's insane. I asked my dad about this incident like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, do you remember Tara? And he's like, yeah. Like, I had to throw away my shirt because it was like shredded up. When I first met Tara, I wanted to be her friend, of course, because I wanted to be everybody's friend. And she would pretend like she was my friend, and then she would do really mean things to me. Like, every day in school, she had this obsession with pulling my hair. Other than trying to get me in trouble and like kicking me and like pinching me, she was absolutely obsessed with pulling my fucking hair. Like, unless you're my boyfriend, don't pull my hair. So I told her to stop and she wouldn't. She would not stop. Told the teacher, they didn't do anything. They never do anything. So I went to my dad and I was like, what am I supposed to do? My dad's like, well, do you want me to go down to the school? And I was like, fuck, no, no, please, no. He's like, well, you have to stick up for yourself. And I don't think he meant what I was ready to do, but I was like, okay, like, I gotta stick up for myself. Now, before I get into the rest of this story, I do not condone violence at all. I don't. But I was put in a very difficult predicament in my life, and I didn't really know what to do. Teachers were not really helping me. Like, these girls would not stop, but, you know, I mean, what are you gonna do? So we were waiting in line, and every time we were in line, that was like the main time she would pull my hair. So she reaches over, nags my hair, and like images of my dad like talking to me go through my head, like, stand up for yourself. I'm like, okay. So I reach over. You know, in middle school when the cha-cha slide would come on and it says like, how low can you go? And you try to prove how low you can go down to the flow. And yeah, that's what I did with her hair in my hand. I took her hair and I dropped. I'm surprised I didn't give this girl like whiplash, but she never messed with me again. Like, but then Larissa came into the picture. Larissa was friends with Tara, and after Tara kind of left me alone, Larissa stepped in, and she stepped in hard. Like, she was ready. She was ready to fuck things up in 2nd grade. Tara was like a breeze on a nice summer's day, wisping along a leaf. And Larissa was like a fucking F5 tornado. Bitch was crazy. I remember one day in science class, we had to like switch over to science and then come back to our class. We switched for like 1 period. It didn't make any sense. But all of science, she was like erasing something, and she had like the whole entire eraser down to nothing, and she was like erasing, and she like swatted it on the floor and then like kicked it under the desk. And we went back to our regular class, and then I was called over, and the teacher was like, Larissa came to me and told me that you deliberately kicked this under the desk. And I had to, for 30 minutes, clean up eraser shavings in front of the other class. Like, so fucking embarrassing. By the way, we have a friend. She's been listening to my story time. Larissa was just crazy. Like, I remember one day I came to school and she made fun of me because I was crying. Y'all want to know why I was crying? Because my cat just died. Like, who makes fun of somebody for crying because their cat just died? Like, I don't care how old you are. Like, you are heartless. You are evil. You are literally Satan's spawn. But one day, this was like the iconic day that I remember so well from 2nd grade. It was near the end of the year, and we had free time to clean out our desk, or we could read silently. And I was a good little student, so I was reading. I was over at my desk reading. I don't know what I was reading, but I was reading. And Larissa was over at her desk, and she was, you know, cleaning out her nasty shit out of her desk. And out of nowhere, like, just out of fucking nowhere, I'm sitting and reading, and Larissa and this other boy in my class, a kid I never talked to, like ever. I never talked to this kid. Like, he had no reason to have anything against me. We're gonna name him Jacob. Larissa and Jacob come over to my desk. Jacob slams the textbook on my hand, like big textbook, slams it on my hand, and I obviously look up like, what the fuck? I look up and Larissa smacks me, like full force, smacks me across the face. So even though telling the teacher never worked in previous situations, especially with Tara, I decided, you know, I was gonna go tell the teacher, because there's like no way on earth that she couldn't get in trouble for this. Like, no way. So I go over and tell the teacher, and the teacher just walks with me over to Larissa's desk. Larissa was already back at her desk. And the teacher asks her, Larissa, did you go over and smack Gabby across the face? And Larissa's legitimate response in the sweetest voice ever was, no, she came to my desk and she smacked me. Bitch, if I smacked you, like, why didn't you fucking tell the teacher? But the teacher didn't do anything. Like, the teacher did nothing. Teacher just walked back over to her desk. Like, just nothing happened. So Larissa knew that she could get away with fucking with me and she wouldn't get in trouble. But for a while, she stopped. For the rest of the year of second grade, she didn't mess with me anymore. Weirdly. But she started back up in third grade. It's so funny how, like, pissed off I'm getting just like reciting this like 15-year-old story. Like, it still gets me heated. So for the end of second grade, she didn't mess with me, but third grade, she was in my class for third grade. I walked in that day and I was like, fuck. So for about the first week of third grade, she was doing little things here or there, like nothing big, nothing to really piss me off. But probably like the first week, like end of the first week of third grade, we were lined up outside and she was sitting up on the like handle going up for the wheelchair ramp. There was like a huge wheelchair ramp going up to our front door of our school, and she was sitting up on it. And I was walking past her with one of my friends, just talking to my friend, and she grabs my arm like really hard, and I sling around, and she takes, like, I can't make this shit up, she takes her thumb and jams it into my chest. And I have this huge thumb mark in the middle of my chest. I mean, she really, like, she just out of nowhere. So at this time, my dad's voice is like in my head and he's like, you gotta stick up for yourself. So that's what I did. I'm not proud of what I did next. Like, I'm not saying you gotta like go down the road of violence. Like, please don't follow my path. But literally no one would help me. And I, with the strength of a fucking grizzly bear, as quoted by Rex Kwon Do, I push her ass backwards and she goes flying down below onto the concrete. I am surprised she didn't like split her head open. Like, I genuinely shouldn't have done that, but I was so sick of her at this point. And did she mess with me again? No. Now we move on to Azriel. Azriel came in third grade. She was already there, and she acted like my friend. Like, all of third grade, she acted like she was really chill with me. Like, even though she was friends with Tara and Larissa, and Tara, might I add, failed third grade, so she wasn't even there anymore. But Azriel acted like cool with me. Like, she was a cool chick for third grade. I don't know what the fuck happened afterwards, but for third grade, she was aight. So third grade ended, and the summer before fourth grade, I went to camp. My dad put me in camp. And my dad put me in camp from first going into second grade and then third going into fourth. So I knew some of the people at this camp. They went there every year. and I was excited as hell to go back. It wasn't a going away camp, it was a day camp. Like, it was a lot of fun. We went bowling, we went to the movies, we went swimming, we went roller skating. Like, it was so much fun. And when we weren't doing these things on like our off days, we were either on the playground or in this huge gymnasium. Like, it was so much fun. Like, I was pumped for camp. Like, I was ready. Like, I loved camp. Like, put me in camp right now, I promise I probably won't even have depression if you put me in camp. Like, I love camp. My camp was separated into 3 different groups. There was the 5-year-olds, they had their own group, and then the 6 to 9-year-olds, and then the 10 to 14. And I was obviously in the 6 to 9-year-olds at this time. So I walk into camp on the first day, and we were all eating breakfast, and who do I see in camp in my section other than Larissa and Azriel. So I walk up to Azriel and I'm like, hey girl, what's up? And Larissa was sitting at the table and she didn't even look at me. I didn't even talk to her for the rest of camp. I didn't talk to her for the rest of fucking forever. Bye, bitch. But Azriel was sitting at my table. So Azriel was really cool with me for the first few weeks of camp. And then just out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, she decides that she hates me. Like, she doesn't like me. She doesn't want to be my friend anymore. I don't know. She took over the job of Larissa and Tara, and like, she was ready to just fuck up my life. Like, for no reason. Out of nowhere, Azriel just had it out for me. Like, just out of absolutely nowhere. Like, we would be playing dodgeball and she would deliberately try to hit me. Like, I would be on her team and she would try to hit me. We would be skating and she would try to trip me. We would be swimming and she would try to fucking drown me. She tried to like kill me. I'm not even kidding. She tried to kill me. And I tried to ignore her because that's always like my first go-to reaction to somebody trying to fuck with me is just like ignore them. I still do that to this day. Like, just ignore them, because 90% of the time they're gonna stop because they're not getting a reaction out of you. They want a reaction. And I ignored this girl for weeks and she still just would not stop. So one day, it was a really hot day outside and the coaches decided to round all the kids up and go into the gymnasium where it's air conditioned and we won't have a heat stroke. So I walk into the gymnasium and I was probably like one of the last people out of like 100 kids to get into the gymnasium. And I walk in and my friends, like a group of my friends, are sitting way up in the corner of the bleachers, and this gymnasium was huge. So I start walking towards them and Azriel is sitting on the bleachers in like the middle section, and as I'm walking past her, she gets up and she stands in front of me. I try to walk around her and she just moves in front of me. I try to walk around her the other way, she moves in front of me. Like, bitch, what do you want? I'm like, what do you want? Because I didn't say bitch at the time. I was like, what do you want? And you know what she says? She literally says, I'm gonna fight you. We are 8 years old. We are 8 years old. We are 8 years old. We're 8. We're 8 years old. I'm still playing with Barbies at that time. I still have like half my baby teeth. I had a crush on Danny Phantom. I still thought frick was a bad word. This girl wants to fight me though. And every time I try to move around her, she just steps in front of me like, I'm gonna fight you. So I'm just like, whatever. I try to walk way around her and she pushes me. And at this time, my dad, like, his voice was going through my head again. He's like, you gotta stick up for yourself. You gotta stick up for yourself. But again, I'm like, I like it here. Like, we go swimming, we go to the movies, they have a really good selection in the vending machine. Like, I don't want to get kicked out of here. And she pushes me again. At this point, I'm just like, fuck it. My dad's gonna save $82 a week and I'm gonna get kicked out of camp. So at this point, time is slowing down in this 0.005 seconds. I'm like, okay, all right, I've made up my mind. I'm gonna push her back. So I'm getting ready to push her. Like, I'm ready. Hands are up. And I am ready to push this bitch. Now I'm gonna push her hard. So time is again just going slow. I'm like in the position. I've got my foot planted and I'm ready to stomp and just slam my hands into her. Like, I am ready. And time is just so slow. And my hands are about here. And I am ready to push this girl harder than I have ever pushed anything in my entire life. And out of nowhere, one of my friends jumps in like,
girl, I got this.
And she slams her down on the bleachers. I'm still standing there like, and the head coach jumps in like, you two, my office, now. And I'm still standing there like, I saw my friend in camp the next day because she was sticking up for me, so she didn't get in trouble. And Azriel got kicked out of camp. And I got to live out the rest of my camp days completely happy. But that is not where the story of Azriel ends. So I walk into 4th grade the first day. I am ready. I am pumped. I got my Barbie backpack and my Shrek and Fiona lunchbox. It was pink. My teacher goes over the list on the first day, and both Larissa and Azriel switched schools. Tara had failed, so I didn't have to deal with any of them this year. None of them. Like, this was amazing. I thought I was smooth sailing from now on. So a few weeks of 4th grade go by. It was probably like, I don't know, August. It was still hot out. And my parents picked me up from school and we decided to go to Walmart. Wally World. Great discounts, lower prices. We walk into Walmart and my dad goes a separate way because he doesn't want to be with my mom in the store because he knows she always ends up in the makeup aisle and I have turned out just like my mom. So me and my mom are walking to the makeup aisle and I see none other than Azriel and her parents walking in the distance. And I am like, oh my God. Literally the one place in the world that you will see somebody you don't want to see is Walmart. But you always do, and you always look like shit every time you run into them. Like, you're never gonna run into your crush in Walmart when you look good. Like, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna run into the bitch from high school who wore the same prom dress as you and said you copied her. You're gonna run into your 10th grade teacher who failed you. You're gonna run into your ex-boyfriend who cheated on you. Like, those are the people you run into at Walmart. So me and my mom, about like, I don't know, 20 minutes into our Walmart extravaganza, we're looking at something and I'm just standing over my mom, like looking at whatever she's looking at. And I hear from behind me, Gabby? I look over and it's Azriel, of course, and she's with her parents and she's just acting like we're best friends. And I could see for the split second that I looked over that her parents had this like look on their faces like, oh, like our daughter's friend, like our daughter has a friend, they're gonna chat it up a little bit. And my mom has this look like, and I look back down at whatever my mom's looking at and ignore her, hoping she'll go away. And I hear her again, Gabby, hey. And I ignore her and she still continues, Gabby, hey. Gabby, hi, Gabby. Like, bitch, do you not remember the last time we saw each other? Like, do you not remember what happened? So I ignore her for a good, like, 2 minutes of her trying to get my attention, and then she just walks away. And I never see her, or any of them, ever again. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that story. Those were just some, like, hilarious, drama-filled, early Gabby stories that I thought you guys might enjoy. Now, of course, this drama was nothing compared to Gabby high school drama, but that shit show will come in future story times. This was just kind of like a warm-up. I tried to look up Tara, Larissa, and Azriel on Facebook to see if I could see, you know, what they are up to now in current times in 2018. And Tara, she's like a porn star now and her brother's in jail. It's really weird. Like, I don't know. Larissa, she's got a couple kids. I hope that motherhood changed her in some way. Like, I don't know. And Azriel, I can't even remember Azriel's real name, so I couldn't find her. But yeah, it was really weird to like look them up and see their faces after 15 years. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that video. These story times are probably going to be a bit long. I apologize. I don't know. Use me as background noise while you're doing something like making dinner or studying or petting your dog. I'm hoping to make story times like a weekly thing, like Saturday or Sunday. I'm thinking Saturday or Sunday because they both start with an S, and like story time starts with an S, and like, you know, I'm YouTube fucking cliche, so like story time Saturday, story time Sunday. I don't know. I love the absolute shit out of all of you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.